Good morning everybody, welcome to Ash Davies on Cars, and welcome to a car that I've been looking forward to for a long time, the stunning Jaguar I-Pace. I've had to take the I-Pace out of my normal car parking spot where it was charging and put it here out in the open, under this wonderful underground car park lighting, because this is such a pretty object to walk around and look at. I think part of what makes the I-Pace such an interesting car is that this is one of the first EVs where if you took away the drivetrain, took away all of the electric technology, the car would still be just as interesting and just as desirable. I mean, this is an SUV. It's got 4 doors and a big boot, but it looks more like a Batmobile. Badges. We've got the I-Pace badge, and on the right we've got EV400 all-wheel drive. That 400 there is interesting. That means this car's got 400 horsepower. All I-Paces have the same underlying drivetrain, all with 400 horsepower, so it's not like you can spec more or less power. That's 400 horsepower with about 450 kilometers worth of all-electric range. The badge that makes a difference is this one, the HSE, which stands for High Spec something. That means that this I-Pace does have a lot of really lovely options ticked, most of which can be seen here in the interior. I mean, red leather, these seats, what a wonderful place to sit. So I've been living with the I-Pace for about a week now, running it as my daily car and absolutely loving it. Today's the first time that I'm going to show the car to my brother James, who I know has been as curious and interested in seeing the car as I was. He's got some things planned. I should make a move now because I'm about half an hour late. I forgot to charge the car last night and had to nip off to grab about half an hour's worth of electricity. So without further ado, let's get in the car, pick up my brother, and along the way we'll talk about what it's been like living with the Jag. Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
It is pouring with rain.
Oh, I like a Jag.
It's nice, isn't it? Sorry I'm late, by the way. I was just busy charging up the Jag.
Is it just me, or do you feel a lot more British all of a sudden?
I do, yeah. I was originally wearing a normal jumper, but now it's turned slightly tweedish. So this is, obviously it's the Jaguar I-Pace. This is the HSE, which is the high spec edition. So you've got the nicer leathers, you've got, look at the seats, you've got little bits in them, little gaps in them.
That's good, I like it, because your
Red
passengers
leather.
can give you a little tickle from behind.
They can. You've got the glass roof, you've got the Meridian Hi-Fi. So this is a very nice spec.
This is a proper interior.
Oh, it is.
This is a real interior.
It really is, and it shows the shortfalls of some other electric car manufacturers when it comes to interior design.
Some other unnamed electric car
Because
manufacturer,
it's just a
shall we say.
lovely place to be.
It's nice, isn't it?
So before we get into this, I've got a thing, right? You may have noticed my keep cup there with my Elon Musk on it.
Looks a little bit like Elon Musk, doesn't it?
A little bit that. And this is my kind of a concern that I have with the electric car industry in general. Anytime someone talks about an electric car, they always end up comparing it to a Tesla.
Ah, I
And
see where you're going with this.
It's just annoying, and it makes it hard to judge a car on its own merits, because you wouldn't normally compare a 160 grand SUV with a 70 grand small hatchback, would you?
No.
But people love to do it. So that is for us. That's going to be our Tesla tax. Anytime we want to mention or compare this car to a Tesla, we can do it because it's allowed. We have to put some money in the little jar. Because
Do you accept PayPass? Because I didn't bring any coins.
I did bring you some coins.
Hey!
Brought you some coins. Let me grab some of them for you, because there's so much to talk about.
I'll hold the wheel, shall I?
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
There we go.
it's
So
not an accepted form
you
of
can
driving.
have some of that. So I've been looking forward to driving this for a long time.
I've been looking forward to just being a passenger in it because I want to love this car. I really want to love it.
I mean, it's the Ian Callum car.
It is.
Ian
isn't it?
Callum designed the Aston Martin Vanquish. He had a good part in the DB9 and the V8 Vantage.
Oh.
He's got some brilliant cars to his name.
Yeah.
And what I already love about the I-Pace is this feels like one of the first EVs that you can love regardless of the drivetrain. Like, people want this car, not because it's got a however many kilowatt hour battery or whatever, but because it just looks and feels really special.
You don't have to be a bit of an EV geek to want to love this thing. You can just love it because it's an amazing car.
Yeah.
And now I was quite surprised by the actual size of the thing, because you see it in photos and you think, well, it's an SUV, it's going to be a tall car. But the proportions of it are completely different to anything you'd expect, aren't they?
Yeah, it's lower, I find, and also a lot
Low and
longer.
long. Yeah.
So it's longer in profile than a Range Rover Evoque and a Porsche Macan. What's curious is that it has got the whole BMW X6 thing where the rear tail glass will slope, which does cut off some of the headroom. But we had Molly in the boot. Molly did fit in the boot.
Oh, you put dog in?
We put dog in the boot.
Oh, there you go.
So we've proven that it does fit.
You're learning to do practical tests,
I know.
aren't you?
Every car I can, I put a dog in the boot.
What's
Tick
next?
that
Is he going to
box.
do his shopping in the car?
I might even go to IKEA.
We need to do something that's befitting of a Jag.
Yeah.
So I was thinking tea and scones.
It's lovely.
Is there anything more Jag?
I'm genuinely excited right now.
Well, this is going to be delightful,
We
isn't
can
it?
spend our Tesla tax on some scones.
On some scones.
Where can we go for scones? Can you find a place to go for scones? Navigate to scones, please.
Function currently unavailable.
Doesn't have the scones feature.
Completely obedient. I have to go ST. Oh, the lag on the keyboard is... Oh, I've got time to actually make scones while I wait for it to catch up with me.
Interestingly, it's saying the battery range there. So we have 58% of battery in the car. Good opportunity to talk about broad specs.
Sure.
Battery range on this is about 460 kilometers fully charged. Normal, actual inner city, slightly dipshitty driving style is about
Exactly the way you like to drive.
380 kilometers worth of all electric range.
Okay, that's
And
enough.
It's pretty good.
That's enough.
I've been plugging this car at night. I went to a charge point last night as well. I plugged the car in and I sat there for half an hour,
Yeah.
letting it recharge.
What did you do while you sat there for half an hour?
I posted on Instagram about how bored I was sitting there for half an hour.
Charging your Jag.
Yeah, charge the Jag. This car will do 100 kilowatt charging.
Right.
So you can, the official specs are that you can charge up to 80% of the car in 40 minutes. 0 to 80%, 40 minutes. One of the frustrations that I've had is more of a criticism with the Australian ecosystem.
Okay.
In that unless you are a Tesla, which has got the brilliant supercharger network, you do have to lean on the third-party network of chargers.
Right.
And the fastest available ones that I could find in my area, which is about 15 minutes drive from home, was 50 kilowatts. So it took
Right.
about 2 hours to charge 70-80% of the battery.
That's
2
a long
hours
time. And you've got the problem that you need to sacrifice half an hour of driving to actually top up the battery. So
Yeah.
you need to make that equation in your mind, which is, well, all right, how much am I going to use getting there versus how much am I going to gain from a charge?
So it's more of a statement that the infrastructure in Australia has got a little way to go before a lot of these cars can exist on the road. But you do need to have the little box installed at home. You need to charge it every single night.
Definitely.
And just plug it in whenever you can. Because with a normal wall socket at home, you're going to get 35 kilometers per hour. You will be able to charge the car fully over the course of a night. No questions at all on that. So I'm going to show you performance, because the first time we've got like an open stretch
Hang
of
on,
road.
I'll put my head back into the seat. Jag! Woo-hoo-hoo! But it's 2 motors, so it's
Yep,
an
four-wheel
all-wheel
drive.
drive setup.
Yep.
400, and the 400 in the EV400 comes from 400 kilowatts, you say?
400 PS, so 400
PS.
horsepower.
Gotcha.
Over 700 newton meters worth of torque.
That's what makes the
The
difference.
torque
isn't it?
is
It's the torque
extraordinary.
you want.
Actual specs on acceleration, 0 to 100 k's an hour. So I did, on a closed road with a professional driver in a safe environment, do a
Naturally.
bit of a dyno test on this
Slam it
thing.
down there.
4.8. Most of the car's torque and performance comes in the kind of 0 to 50, 0 to 60 kilometers an hour range. That's when this thing just surges and you get the full force of the EV.
See, I think that's plenty.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really all you need. Yes, there are going to be some amazing cars out there that are going to do it in the 2s, and a Taycan. What's a Taycan going to do it in?
It's 2.8. Yeah. official figure.
Taycan.
It's tie like a necktie,
Necktie.
can like you're drinking a can.
Like a tinny.
So we've got three different driving modes.
Mm-hmm.
The eco kind of low power modes, normal comfort, which we're in now, and then a dynamic mode. If you,
I'm guessing the one with the little Formula One style flag is dynamic.
yeah. And what is super interesting is it's not really, it does firm up the suspension. The steering feel is really lovely in the sport mode, but you've got a very clear view that all of the performance is just chained through software calibration.
Yeah, okay.
It changes the digital torque curve that it gives you on a graph.
Right.
And the car has actually injected a really uncomfortable driveline shunt into it to make it feel more sporting. I'll take a moment just to show you. This is on sport mode now. You feel the kick?
Why does it do that?
It's as though it pauses for a split second upon acceleration and then kicks into power to throw your head into the back of the seat.
I didn't want to feel that. I didn't need to.
It's really, really silly. I love the dynamics of the car in its sport mode, but that driveline shunt is just making the car more uncomfortable so that you think it's fast.
All right, so I don't like how bumpy the suspension is. I'm going to put us back into comfort mode. And can I say, using a physical button to do that is amazing.
It's nice not having to dig around in a menu from, you know, what another car manufacturer might think is a usual. Yeah, I can't get away with that, can I?
So I had, it's not an exciting topic at all for the viewers, I had a Kia Cerato rental car.
The Kate Sobrano.
The Kate Sobrano.
Lovely.
The Kate Sobrano Kia Cerato last week. With everything sort of through the touchscreen display. And I found myself doing that thing where my arm is kind of just hovering in the air for a little bit whilst I try to find the right place to tap. I like a button.
Buttons are nice.
I like a button. I can sit here and I can feel around and I can say, yep, there's my comfort mode. I'm going back into comfort. Sorry, just shut up and do that again.
I didn't mention this. I was wondering.
It's a spaceship! Whoa.
I was wondering if you'd noticed that. The fake augmented engine note, which this car definitely has.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's completely manufactured. It's in all of the normal driving modes. Once you go into the dynamic mode, it actually increases the volume of the fake engine note. But you do get this. It's quite energetic. It's exciting.
Love it.
You get onto a freeway and you accelerate, you think, you're having a bit of fun with it. Where the hell are we?
So I think we have to park and walk.
Oh, we have to
scones.
park.
The scones aren't just here.
Not drive-through.
And it's not drive-through scones.
Oh,
mind you, if you are looking
off-roading.
for something to really please the Jag owner,
Drive-through
scones.
We'll get some scones, chat a little about the car, and then do you want to drive home?
Oh, I'd love to drive a Jag. It is simultaneously a big and a small car, isn't it? 4 total. So,
What could be more Jaguar than going and just having a meal in some miserable weather?
yes, no, it's all fine. Dog. He looks very miserable in this weather.
Yeah. Dogs
Fine.
should not have raincoats.
Dogs are raincoats. That's what their fur is for, is it not? Oh, it's all lovely, yeah?
Oh, it's sort of nice.
Where's the Jag?
Where's the Jag?
Have you seen my Jag?
Whereas cars like the i8 were attracting young people who like rap videos, and Teslas are always attracting tech bros.
Yeah.
The I-Pace has attracted a lot of kind of salt and pepper head older men who just have been thinking about getting one for their wife. Oh, it does look good though, doesn't it? It's got a stance.
See, you look at it like that and it's not
Why
a
do
big
you
car.
get the umbrella? Thank you. Damn straight. I just realised. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Just going to put all of the jam on.
I'd love to own one of these, particularly with a red interior. I'm really enthused by it. You know, there's a lot of comparisons out there between some, and I don't know whether that's fair. Like you can't just assume that every EV is competing in exactly the same market. They need to be, as we've said before on this show, they need to be competing with cars. They don't need to be competing with other EVs. They need to be competing with petrol and diesel engines. Simple as that.
And what I love about the car industry is that fundamentally we are all the same. It's like collecting watches or liking whiskey or something, or having a hobby where you are all really the same, but you are made unique by your opinion. I love and think you should celebrate the fact that there is a new car that's come on the market that is different, and it's for different people. It doesn't have to be a Tesla is better than everything. It can be okay to like both things.
Just in the same way that not everyone's going to go out for a scone on a Sunday afternoon.
Some people like muffins.
Oh, exactly.
Some people like Jaffa cakes.
Exactly.
Some people like scones.
Some people like bratwurst.
True. Marzipan.
It's great.
One question I have for you.
Yes.
Once we have a few more electric cars in the market, what are we going to talk about? What is going to be the defining difference? Because it's no longer going to be the engine node, the drivetrain. A lot of that is calibrated by software. And it's all going to be much the same in that the drivetrain will just disappear. You'll have torque, you'll have power. What's the difference?
It's interesting because I know I did some reading before I got into this car. This car has an LG Chem battery pack.
Okay.
I don't know who makes the motors, but if it was a similar parts bin type situation, are you going to find yourselves comparing brand A with an LG and a Bosch versus brand B with a Samsung battery and an in-house motor? Is that the situation we're going to find ourselves in, where they all are all largely the same, and it comes down to fit, finish, software?
It's like how our iPhones have Samsung OLED displays.
Yeah.
A lot of the electric drivetrain components in a car will become somewhat standardized because it's no longer the area where you can innovate.
Yeah.
The innovation, like with the sport mode that adds a shunt to the driveline, the innovation is going to be in calibration of software rather than in the actual hardware, which does also mean that eventually, when it comes to electric, and it's quite a sad sentiment, but we're going to run out of things to talk about.
We might.
Because we're going to get in a car and go, yep, all the torque's there, all the power's there, it's faster than a petrol car even though it's 2.5 tons. It's who can build the best user experience.
Which then, it sort of means you approach this the same way you approach reviewing a smartphone, don't you? Like, well, the software's the same. They all do the same things. Let's see who can just execute on a particular concept better.
Yeah, you'll buy an electric car based on the updates, based on the software, based on the charging network. This car is so good at being a normal car. It kind of makes me question what the future of this industry will be once everything's electric.
The only criticism I have of the car is the brake pedal, and I know that feels like a really nitpicky thing to come back with. That's the only part that I dislike. Everything else, I'm bang on with this car.
It feels gritty. The first 10-20% has nothing in it, and then it's just
yeah.
It makes up for it once you teach yourself how to one pedal drive,
Exactly.
and use the regen to slow it down. You barely touch the brake pedal, it becomes okay. But the calibration of the brake pedal, oddly enough, is something that a lot of car companies will have to relearn.
Because that's what they're doing, isn't it? Is they're not bringing in the traditional brakes until you're further into the pedal, aren't you?
It's using the initial part of the pedal to blend the electric braking into the actual hydraulic braking.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's what makes it a slightly weird feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, sign me up.
For what?
I'll have one with red leather, please. And I'm so glad, because it was one of those situations where you're almost meeting a hero, something you really, really want to love.
Yeah.
I love this thing as much as I thought I would, and that makes me happy.
I think it's going to open a lot of people's eyes to what their next car should be, and it's going to make a lot of salt and pepper graying haired men very happy. Christ. Lovely. Alright, thanks for the drive back to yours.
And now that said drive is over, you know what it's time for?
What?
I'm going to do what Boris Johnson and Mrs. May and everything couldn't do. That right there is Brexit.
Thank you for watching. This has been Ash Davies on Cars. Please hit that subscribe button or that like button, whatever platform you're watching on. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I think I'm going to drive home now.